Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and hop into this week's live stream. I'm going to give everybody a couple of minutes to start tuning in, and then we'll actually get to it. In the meantime, I've been working on the drain a little bit, so I'm going to be doing 5 wide columns going through here. The big thing being that I want to go ahead and do a slime block clearing mechanism to go ahead and clear this out in, quick passes or whatever have you. But I'm currently in the process of recording, as you can see by the random blocks floating around, from different angles some of the shots for a sped up version of me clearing the drain, so that I can upload that as a video with like a time-lapse footage or whatever, with catchy theme song or whatever have you to go along with it. I haven't decided what all that's going to look like 100% yet, but it's a work in progress. I'll have a video of that up sometime in December as I finish clearing all of this out, which will probably take quite a while. Anyway, on to other topics and of more interesting note. We got a lot of updates coming into Minecraft here shortly called the Aquatic update. Most of it's just crap. I'm not going to lie. For Anarchy players, it's all just lackluster. That is to say that some of it will be, useful, but not everything will be. I'm looking forward to throwable tridents. Could make some interesting underwater combat. It could also just be crap. It really depends on how Mojang ends up doing it and how Microsoft ends up putting their hand into the cookie jar, so to speak. I'm kind of excited for wrecked explorable ships, just because that'll give something else to do in the game that we haven't done before. To be fair, we haven't had a ton of new spawned-in content in a while. We had the mansion update, and then can't really remember anything spectacular or interesting since then, as far as, generation of terrain goes. I'm pretty excited for that, especially if they do it in a decent way to where the ships are all different. Though it would be kind of interesting to see villagers end up with actual ships at some point in order to get them sunk on the floor. Perhaps instead of just them being there at the bottom of the ocean, you getting loot or whatever, villagers could randomly spawn and attempt to swim across the ocean or whatever, and if in the middle of their voyage they're killed, then you end up getting loot and other things from it, and a sunken ship ends up on the ocean floor. I think that would be a fantastic addition to the game, especially if you had to build your own ships or whatever have you. No, but I would be super excited for some sort of ocean ship combat. It would be a lot of fun to do something like that. We'll see. I'm optimistic, but I know that Microsoft is probably going to screw it up. In other wonderful news, this has just been added to our build this week. Medieval style tower. Nothing fancy. I don't even know who built it, actually. It's kind of funny. Be nice if people would start leaving signs in their builds so that when I talk about them, I'm not like, herp, derp, derp. I don't know who built this. At any rate, be a nice chest vault, from what I can tell. I don't know what their plan for it is. Looks schematiced. Maybe it isn't. At any rate. So, then they had talked about, fish in aquariums. I'm just waiting for that to come out so that I can go ahead and have people catch all of the red fish and put it in a aquarium shaped like a swastika. That's gonna happen. 20 minutes into the aquatic update, somebody's gonna have a fish tank full of red fish in a swastika. I just know it. Anyway, coral/kelp. I don't know about that. I have no idea what all that's going to entail yet. There wasn't a lot of detail from what I saw, but maybe somebody saw something that I didn't. And then Mob B is apparently the winner. For those of you who don't know, Mob B is supposed to go around attacking people who are insomniacs. Basically, those people who haven't come into a bed in a significant period of time. Depending on how bad that is, I may just block Mob B from ever spawning on 9B. One of two things. If the mob is easy to defeat and it doesn't matter much to the overall gameplay, then 9B as a whole will probably end up with Mob B flying around and attacking people, because almost everybody has gapples and armor, and it just doesn't matter for the most part. However, if the mobs are difficult, and which I doubt, we're talking about Microsoft here, they're trying to make a game for 7-year-olds, not for internet edgelords. At any rate, if the mobs are actually difficult for some reason, we could see them be removed from 9B. I'm not sure yet. It is kind of a point of contention for me, because I would like to get a vote from people. Yeah, I think it would be pretty cool to see them flying around at spawn. I'm not all that excited for Mob B, to be honest.
At first I was like, okay, yeah, that would be cool. Some like flying, mob.
Well, the problem is it's not going to be challenging.
I didn't catch what they were gonna fully implement, because like Bezo started explaining like, well, not everyone goes to bed on a server, then how are we gonna go to bed? And
if the mobs are particularly challenging, which I doubt, they're probably going to be as bad as zombies, probably. We're talking about Microsoft here. Maybe zombie level, as far as attacks go. Probably less.
It's supposed to like represent insomnia or something like that, right? So like, some people were saying they wouldn't be like attackable. Like they would just attack you and you would try to hit them and they would be invincible. Because they're not real or something.
Possibility. I don't think that that's been fleshed out yet. Like, I don't think that Microsoft's thought it out yet. The way they did it is very odd and awkward, and I'm not looking forward to it. I know for most of Mojang and Microsoft, they're trying to build a game to the lowest common denominator, and the lowest common denominator dies to a freaking zombie. So I don't see them implementing a mob that is actually challenging to kill and does a decent amount of damage or breaks armor or does anything of real substance in the future. It's unlikely to happen, and unfortunately for us, that means we're just going to have to put up with a lackluster mob.
To be honest, I kind of wanted them to add Mob A.
Mob A could have been interesting.
I thought it would have been cool, like, let's say you were swimming in the ocean without a boat, and this thing just fucking attaches you and drags you into the fucking ocean.
I think they did the design for Mob A wrong, though. It should have been a Kraken. I think it would have gotten a lot more votes for it.
I think they purposely let the vote go first, like polls, before they announced that they were going to do an aquatic update. So personally, I think if they announced that they were going to do an aquatic update and said this was like a fish mob, then I think Mob A would have won, most likely, because it would have fit in with like the update.
Fair enough. I don't disagree with you. I guess it kind of looks like a Kraken, but I feel like what they should have done is they should have had where squids, if they're left alone long enough, they like mature, and then they become this thing.
Oh, that would be cool.
And then the squids start pulling you down. I think that would have created a lot more of an interesting content update.
They kind of do look like squids.
They do, and the fact is that there's nothing challenging about the oceans, really.
Yeah.
You've got your ocean monuments or whatever, but like, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
You do some clearing and it's over. No risk there. Currently, I can just run across the ocean and nothing bad happens to me.
I wonder how it would work, like, if someone was using Jesus to walk along, like, an ocean or anything.
You get like pulled down and die. It'd be funny if you took, like, fall damage for using Jesus with that.
That'd be funny.
It would solve anybody ever using Jesus. Like, suddenly you get pulled down. Oh, instead of drowning or whatever, you just start taking fall damage, and it was going to pull you down like 6 or 8 blocks or whatever, right? So you take a heart of fall damage every time it hits you. So Mob C would have been kind of interesting to me, just because I liked the general premise. I liked the idea that there could be a mob hiding in the sand that just swallows all of your crap. Walking around right now, there's no element of surprise unless a creeper gets you. It just doesn't happen. So I could see Mob C being an interesting addition to the game. I can't see Mob B being an interesting addition to the game in the sense that there's no risk. Either there's going to be zero risk involved because it's going to be a frickin' pussy-ass mob, or it's going to be horrible and you're just going to have like 20 of them come after you and murder you. There is no middle ground there. Creating good content out of that is going to be challenging. So what did you think of Mob D?
Oh, it was the blaze thing.
Yeah.
It was like the same thing like a Mob C, Just like with lava.
I don't think anybody really voted for Mob D.
No one did. I think Mob A was the first to go out, and then Mob D.
The description basically said it's just a more advanced version of a blaze. So
yeah,
it's kind of disappointing. You only had to come up with 4 mobs, and this is all you could come up with. They have so much opportunity to create interesting content for this game, and they're choosing parrots again.
Yeah.
On to other things that I want to talk about, because that's enough Mojang disappointment for a lifetime right there. So now let's talk about the next most disappointing thing of the week, EA.
Oh, jeez.
I'm throwing the punches today, guys. I'm going to drag you into the pits of despair with Battlefront 2. I was talking about this last week, and it's just continued to spiral from here. The developers went out on a limb and said, oh, we'll just keep working on the game until we fix it. Yeah, you know how you could fix it right now? Announce that all microtransactions of the game will be purely cosmetic.
Close the microtransactions completely down.
Have they? I hadn't seen that announcement.
I saw a thread on 4chan/feed that Disney put their foot down. I could probably go look.
So understand, the intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes.
Yeah, I don't want to play a video game for 7 years to unlock everything.
No, it wasn't that.
Be like me buying...
You work to unlock the characters. It's that you had to buy them, right?
Well, you can unlock every character in the game manually by grinding it out. Okay, was my understanding. However, to unlock just Darth Vader, right, which is one of the most popular dudes, you'd have to grind for like 45 hours or whatever is what somebody had calculated. And that's if you're good at the game. And that's one character. They've got dozens of characters available. To unlock everything, somebody calculated would have taken you years of playtime. And that is just ridiculous because, like, who wants to play the same thing over and over and over again for years on end in order to unlock a few different playstyles?
I'd rather just play Battlefront, 2, like the classic one.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed in that. And while I get that you want to have some progression in your game and you want people to work for the rewards they get, in no way, shape, or form should a 40 to 80 hour grind be required to earning new things in the game.
Yeah.
Like, Darth Vader should probably take 10 hours or less. But investing 40 to 80 hours to unlock Darth Vader seems obscene. That...
Talk about, I just got scammed by Steam.
How's that?
I bought a $20 Steam gift card and I just deposited it and it said it's pending, and then and I go back to my thing and 20 minutes later it's not there anymore.
Steam has some weird issues with gift cards. They normally don't show up for like 24 hours correctly in their system.
What?
Really? It shows up instantly every time I do. Just call Steam support. Oh wait, you can't because they're all robots. XD dev.
You know, I've never had a problem getting support from Steam. As far as companies that provide decent support, Amazon and Steam are pretty far up there. You want to complain about support? I don't know if you know of the company MoviePass or not. MoviePass is a service where you pay $10 a month and you get a card shipped to you that allows you to see an unlimited number of in-theater movies with that card. Basically, you pay nothing other than the $10 a month and you can go see all the movies you want. I used mine this morning to go watch Justice League. So, fantastic idea. I love the product. However, the common advice on their forums and everywhere I've ever read is if you have a problem with their service and your card isn't working, or you didn't receive your card, cancel and re-sign up. You will never get support from this company. That is the answer on their subreddit. Far and away, I think Steam has much better support than MoviePass. And I love MoviePass. I generally find myself watching enough movies that I think the service is worth it. And it's nice to get out of the house and go do something, you know? Even if getting out of the house and going and doing something is sitting in a chair somewhere else. Have you seen the Deadpool 2 trailer?
Goddamn, yes I have.
I saw it today while I was sitting there for Justice League, and I just started laughing in the middle of the movie theater. It was epic. Like, I'm not a fan of Deadpool, really. Just never really gotten into it. But now I'm going to go check out that movie. I'm going to go watch it.
Have you not seen the first one?
I haven't. Maybe it's just the trailer for the first one didn't catch me. Usually, for me to want to go watch a movie, the trailer at least has to have a modicum of something interesting, and I guess maybe the first trailer I saw for it just didn't resonate with me or something, and that's why I was just like, no. I'll check it out at some point. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to do a little bit of a review of Justice League. I'm going to say outright, it was lackluster. It was disappointing. It seemed like whoever they hired for the CG in this film didn't care to make the scenes look quite right. So the scenes were a little bit off. But, like, the objective goal of the Justice League is supposed to be, you know, like, come together to fight evil or whatever have you. Their solution wasn't, hey, let's rely on the character's strengths to pull this off. Their solution was, let's do some cheap trick to make it all work together. And that really disappointed me. Last thing I wanted to talk about today, because, you know, I like rambling, is Tesla. TLDR, Tesla's making a truck, apparently. It's got, like, a ton, literally, worth of batteries. It apparently has, like, super great acceleration, which is unsurprising. But the really nifty thing that I think engineering-wise that they did is the engine modules are identical to their cars. So what they did is they hooked up 4 independent engine modules for running the truck to provide enough torque and enough acceleration, etc., to actually pull off the loads that they want to pull off. So literally, instead of engineering a new engine or whatever have you, they just slapped 4 of them inside of the truck and hooked a bunch of batteries up to it. And I think that's pretty cool. Like, it means that all of their technology is currently compatible. Like, every one of their vehicles runs on the same, which is nice. It means that part availability is not going to be a problem. So Sunken sent me a link to some sort of an article on Star Wars Battlefront II.
I don't know how, like, credible they are, but that's just what I saw.
Okay, so they said they'd reduce the cost to unlock the characters by 75%, but I think that they were also going to, from what I had read online about that as well, they were going to go ahead and reduce the number of credits you get every time you complete a mission as well, by 75%. So effectively, they did nothing. They did that to make it seem like they were doing something and didn't do anything, is what I had read. That may not be the case. You know, maybe what I'm saying is bullshit, but they went out and reduced the cost of characters by 75%, and then reduced the credits you get for completing missions by 75% too. And I think that they left the loot boxes alone, making the loot boxes even more powerful.
I don't know, do you think Disney should take matters in their own hands and just, like...
I don't think Disney has that kind of contractual capability. Maybe they do. I don't know what their contract details, but I presume that they gave EA, like, ways and means for building their video game. So, like, it'd be hard to get out of that at this point.
Yeah. Most
video game manufacturers will not sign a contract for IP without ways and means. Like, I wouldn't sign a contract to build a video game without either A, having a full plan already written out for the video game that both sides agree on, or my side getting ways and means. And that's as a developer who's done some video game development in the past.
Send me your EXE.
You don't want to try it, it's terrible. One of these years I'm going to get an artist and I'm going to kickstart what I want to launch. For those of you who had a PlayStation 1, there's a game called Bushido Blade, which was essentially a one-hit, one-kill sword fighting. I've already made a multiplayer version of that game in some capacity. I've got one level done with no art of any kind and basic fighting or whatever, but like I'd have to get somebody who was amazing at art before I could ever even try to publish this game. And I haven't found anybody who's willing to work within the price bracket I'd be willing to pay for the art. I'd be willing to pay $1 to $2 grand to get the first level and all that stuff, the art and the models for designed. I don't think anybody would do that. Like, the amount of effort that they'd have to put in would probably be like 50, 60 hours minimum. If they're really good at their work, they're getting paid $120 an hour. So like 50 or 60 hours at $2,000 is just peanuts. Now, that isn't to say that I wouldn't be willing to do a Kickstarter backing with them, to where, like, I pay them some money, and then if the Kickstarter is successful, they get a contract to actually fulfill the whole game at regular price. At the moment, I just don't have the funds to pull off what I'd like to pull off for a Kickstarter, so... What I have isn't a full game at this point. What I have is one level where 2 people connect to multiplayer or whatever have you, either via my server or, like, direct connect, and they fight each other until one of them dies, and then that's the end right now. Like, I'd like to do a full campaign mode with, like, a story and different characters with different abilities for the multiplayer. Preferably some sort of a League of Legends style tournament system and ranking system.
I'd play.
It seems like a fun game. I've played it with my brother and a few friends, like what I have, and they enjoyed it. Aside from the graphics, they enjoyed fighting me in the mode. I think I have something there from that aspect. And I mean, people bought Bushido Blade long before multiplayer games were a thing and enjoyed Bushido Blade immensely. I've got like a storyline all plotted out for the game, just a matter of funding. I guess I just don't think it's good enough to kickstart it or to launch it on Steam as is. I'm kind of perfectionist in my work. I know that sounds stupid, but if I'm not happy with my work or happy enough with my work, I just won't release it. Always been the way I've done things. I've got probably 10 or 15 projects just floating around that I built, weren't up to the standards that I've set for some of my projects, and just never released them.
Should I get Skyrim or Doom for my Nintendo Switch?
Doom. Obviously Doom.
Really? Have you played Skyrim?
I haven't, so.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't listen to my opinion. I've played Doom. I think Doom is fun. But keep in mind, I have rose-colored glasses. It's the same thing with World of Warcraft Classic. Like, I have rose-colored glasses. Things were harder back in my day. Games were actually challenging. Get off my lawn.
I mean, Dark Souls is challenging.
Okay, I'll give you that. Cuphead is the first actually challenging video game I've seen in a while.
I don't know, I haven't played it yet. I'm pretty sure Jot bought it.
What?
Cuphead.
Cuphead.
Yes, it's really hard.
It's not really hard. It's fairly hard. It's all mechanically driven. It's Super Mario Brothers on steroids. The art style is fun, and the game itself is very good, and I miss challenging games like that. And I love the fact that they didn't bother to put a multiplayer in. They realized, we're going to build a game, it's going to be good, it's going to be a single-player game, that's all we're going to do. Nothing else. Zero, zip, zilch, nada. Good game. Release.
Good game.
Yeah, and they didn't release it at a $60 price tag, they released it at a $20 price tag.
Pretty much everyone has it.
I don't pay $60 for video games, normally. It has to be a really good game for me to want to pay $60 to play it. Minecraft at $30 today is at the edge of what I'm willing to pay for a video game. 30, maybe $40.
Price of video games is basically a whole nother topic. Because you could probably talk about that for hours, saying how, like...
Oh, yeah.
Video games take a while to develop, and...
They do, but there's profit motive there, and then there's ripping your customer off. And I feel like $60 games don't actually require $60 to develop. It's the same thing with Battlefront 2. We were just talking about the game and the microtransactions. Is $60 not enough money for a video game anymore? I'm sorry, when did $60 per player not become enough money for a video game? Just like, how much money do you need from a video game? And we all know that Battlefront 2 would have been profitable right out the gate, going right into it. Even with EA's obscene budgeting and the way they do things. Max has spent $6 million on SimCity 4. EA spent, I think, $33 million on the latest edition of SimCity. I get the games are like 2 or 3 years apart before they started development, but to go up by a factor of 4 and produce a much worse quality of game is just ridiculous to me. So EA budgets wrong, for one thing, and for another, they just don't produce the level of content that I expect for $60. When I bought Black Ops Zombies, the latest one, I'd put a good 200 hours on that game. Legitimate. And I've enjoyed playing the game, don't get me wrong, but I never would have paid $60 for it. I ended up paying, I think, $30 for each half. But if I had paid launch day prices for that, it wouldn't have been a fair price, in my opinion. So, Don't Starve, another one of those games. I think I paid...
Oh yeah, I was going to bring that up.
I paid
it's like $15 on Steam right now.
Yeah, I paid like $15 for the game, and then like $5 for the expansion, and then I think I paid another $15 for the Don't Starve Together mod. In total, I spent $35 on a game that's still being updated. They're still releasing content for it 3 years in. Legitimately, they have gone above and beyond dollar value for me, and the next time that Clei launches a video game, I'm going to seriously think about buying it even if I'm not interested in it. That's how much enjoyment I've gotten out of that game. That's the level of difference for me. Like, I enjoy supporting creators and their content. I really do. I'll go out of my way to donate money to, companies and organizations and things that have created fantastic things that I use every day. Especially road developers. So... like, when Clei launches their next game, I'm definitely going to be interested in just buying it for the sake of buying it. At any rate, I'm excited for their company. They do good work, and I'll probably end up buying their game even if I'm not interested in the title itself. Just because I know it'll be high quality and they'll put a lot of effort into it. They deserve the recognition and rewards that go with putting together a fantastic video game for a fantastic price. Just because a video game isn't my cup of tea doesn't mean I can't appreciate the hard work and effort that went into building that video game.
Yeah.
I think that's it for topics. At least I'm out of stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who checks out the live streams. Anyway, I was thinking about doing some contests or some competitions, maybe a giveaway or two coming up. If you have any suggestions for either A, things I should talk about on the stream, or B, any contests, competitions, giveaways, etc., just feel free to message me. I'll take it into consideration. Even if I don't do it, I'll maybe morph it into something different down the road. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one.